Thank you for those people who might be joining us late. So my name is Alexandra Fraser, or Alex Fraser. I'm the CEO of Viridian, and if you join the next cohort, you're going to spend a lot of time with me because I am one of the co-facilitators, and we also have a we also have two other co-facilitators as well as a number of guests. So, Stephen, I'm going to hand over to you to do a quick hi and introduction. And then David, you're going to be next.
Thanks, Alex, and good to see everybody who's been able to join the session today. Stephen Gugu from Nairobi, sunny Nairobi. It's been very hot in Nairobi in Kenya. And, I'm the CEO of Victoria Ventures, co-founder also at Victoria Ventures, and we run the Victoria Business Angels Network. And we're very happy that, we've walked the journey with Alex, David. I think there's also a few other people who will join the fun, down the road in terms of just walking through with angel investors, training angel investors across the continent. And I'm looking forward to meet all of you during the session and to share the experience that we've had running an angel network for the last now 7 years and being an angel investor myself. So thank you and welcome to the session.
Thanks, Stephen. Sorry, I forgot to mention I also am an angel investor with Dazzle Angels, particularly in South Africa. So David, over to you, and you can also add your angel credentials.
Sure. Thanks, Alex, and thanks, Stephen. Hello, everyone. Good to have everyone on the call. Super exciting to kick off cohort number 10. I cannot believe it's cohort number 10 already. It's a special number, so I trust this will be a special cohort as well. A bit about my background. I've been involved with different initiatives, sort of supporting the ecosystem and sort of evangelizing angel investing, also together with Alex and Stephen in the African Business Angel Network. I do some other work that's more sort of in the VC space, the venture capital space. But as an angel investor, I invest with a group of people that's called Rally Cap, which is structured a little bit different than the groups that Alex and Stephen are part of. This is somewhat of a larger group. There's a fund structure involved, which is also slightly more convenient for me because I'm not on the continent. I've lived across Africa for many years. I'm a regular visitor, but I'm not there right now. So I'm slightly more hands-off. And then more of a fund structure is something that, is slightly more easier for me it's a good way for me to be involved with the sort of early stage investing space. And a way to support promising founders. Very much looking forward to learn much more about your background, and looking forward to work with all of you during cohort 10. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, David. And then we've got two guests who we're going to hear from later, ex-alumni of African Angel Academy, Omalinga and Pratika. So welcome and thank you so much for your time. And then we've also got a number of the Viridian team members here, and I'm sure that you will have received communication, or if you haven't applied yet, or you'll get to know John as well, who's our program manager, and then Jessica Page. I know Jessica is having camera issues because of connectivity, but John and Jessica are really here to support us in implementing the program. Okay, John, should we kick off and do we have a few slides on Mentimeter, and we thought it would just be really great to ask you a few questions and for you to understand who's in the room and who your potential co-angels will be in the next cohort. But also this is a really informal session, so it's really an information session specifically for you to ask questions. So please feel free, if anything's unclear, to pop your hand up, ask a question, pop something in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer. And great to see so many of you introducing yourselves on the chat and also adding in your LinkedIn details as well. Great. So we've put in the LinkedIn, the Menti details. And if you go onto menti.com and you type in the code 6656, oh, it's a shorter code normally, but there you go. Oh, thanks, Jess. Then you can got 2 more questions to ask you. And hopefully you won't have too many issues. But for those of you who just joining, you can always see the code on top of the slides, which is really interesting. John, should we pop onto the first question? So we'd love to know where you're dialing in from. I think according to the chat, we have someone dialing in from San Francisco, which could technically be the furthest. But yeah, I would love to see where you're dialing in from. Okay, so one South African, not sure if someone's okay, nice. Oh, are those two people dialing in from Ethiopia, which is great. Lots from Lusaka. A few from the US, which is exciting. This is a quick test to see how good everyone's high school geography is and how much you've remembered. Since we didn't put any lines or names in. So there you go. So for those of you who've just joined, we just on Menti, and it's always fun to see who's dialing in from where. In Brazil, okay. I'm interested in who's joining us from Brazil. That's exciting as well. Okay. Lots of chat as well. Oh, and lots of people also just joining us, but because I know it's a tricky time. Some people are also breaking their fast in East Africa, or depending on where you are. So it's a busy time. Apologies for that as well. Okay, so lots of different and some Mauritians, I assume, in the middle. So you can see obviously lots of angels, or lots of you joining us from across the continent, but also lots of you joining us from further afield. And we've had a number of angels who are passionate about investing in Africa and African diaspora who don't necessarily live on the continent joining us in previous cohorts, which is great. Awesome. And okay. John, do we want to jump to the next page? So we'd love to know what you're hoping to gain from the session. And this is just to make sure that we do our jobs and answer all your questions. And we'd love to know what you're expecting out of today's session. Learn. Well, hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about what you're going to hopefully learn if you join the cohort. That's great. Okay, additional information on angel investing. Okay, how the program is structured. We're going to cover structure of the program. We'll cover the overview of the content of the course. We're going to definitely give you, okay, so how the program works, what angel investing in Africa looks like. That's definitely what it's all about, and definitely connecting as well. I think one of the biggest gifts about this program is the connections. And I got to meet, I was recently in Nairobi with Stephen. I got to meet a whole lot of our angels from Kenya, and it was amazing. We were like this is the cohort 6 table, and they were all together. This is cohort 8, and you know, it wasn't a calm shake your hand, nice to meet you. Everyone gives you a hug after you spent 12 weeks together on Zoom, so which is great. Okay, so I'm just going to manage a few expectations. So the person who stated that they'd like a guide to angel investing and a link to plausible angel investees if possible, just to manage expectations. So we don't have a written guide. There's lots written about angel investing, but it is quite theoretical, and it's often quite US-centric, but overall the program is your guide. And at the end of each program, we have what's called a startup showcase. And this is where we ask you, the angels, to nominate interesting businesses that you're actively looking at and share those with your fellow angels. So that in that way, you get access to pipeline. And pipeline is also very much about building your network, as we see that's a very valuable source of pipeline. Okay. Okay, in terms of cost structure, duration, we'll cover all of that. Will it be restricted to only those who want to invest in the next 12 months? We would like you to invest fairly soon. If you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to invest in like 5 years' time, we may choose an angel who has an appetite to invest sooner rather than later. And that's purely because we also tracking impact. And that's something that's really important for the funders. You'll definitely get insights from the past cohort members. And then we'll also talk about some of our alumni services. We don't help you invest. We will support you in your investment journey. We will provide you with information, but we're not investment advisory. So if you're wanting to become more of a passive investor and you wanting to have investment advisory, we're not going to say, put your money in startup X and you will make a bajillion rand, $1 million return within I don't know, 3 months. Or, you know, we're not here to make claims or promises. This is not investment advisory. We facilitate introductions. We encourage you to connect. We encourage you to share deals. We tell you how to source deals. But ultimately, as an angel, it's up to you how you invest your money and which deals you do. So just to, otherwise there are other platforms where you can join and you can get access to deal flow and pay a membership fee, and we'll definitely tell you what those are, but it's just something to really think about. Okay, John, I think we've gone through all the expectations here. Okay, and then we'd love to know if you've already made an angel investment, for those of you who are in the room. And for you, those of you who've just joined, we will give you the link in the chat. Okay, we've got a number of yeses on the chat as well, which is fantastic. So I feel like we've got 3 yeses on the chat, 4 yeses on the chat. Great. And we've also just popped the link into the presentation. Actually, the yeses technically could outweigh the no's if we took the meeting chat into account as well. So that's good. But great to see a nice balanced mix of angels here. And at 21. Okay, so taking into account, yeah, I think we're about a 50-50 split, which is good. And then if you are part of an angel group, we would love to know. So what amount qualifies as an angel? So I think it needs to be I would consider it to be a structured transaction. And it's not just a donation of a few $100s or things. I think angel deals are often kind of structured. And I say typically our angels invest between $1,000 and $50,000, and many angels do so through, especially if they're investing smaller amounts, then they are actively investing and co-investing with groups so that they can spread their risk and manage their portfolio. Okay, so we've got some Josie Angel members in the house, which is fantastic. Welcome to the Jasiri Angels, the newest South African group, which is super exciting. You're going to hear from Pratika. And we've got ZBAN, which is Zambia Business Angel Network. I'm sure we've also got some Kenyan angels, maybe. But I'm sure, yeah. The other thing as well is for those of you who are not part of networks, we're going to give you an overview and introduce you to some network managers and founders so that you can also join local networks and find like-minded co-investors. And yeah, and lots of you might have also done equity crowdfunding deals as well. Thanks, it's a great point there as well. And then just a quick kind of public service announcement. We are aware of the fact that the undersea cable has been snapped somewhere between and around West Africa, and that a lot of you are struggling with internet. Those of you in East Africa, you can be very grateful that you don't rely on that piece of cabling. So we are recording this session. So also just if you, please also as participants, please be aware that we're going to release this recording, and everyone who registered will also be sent the link. So if you get kicked off and you can't rejoin, we're going to send you the full recording of this evening as a follow-up mail, just so you do have access to all the information. And then you can always, if you've got additional questions, you can always ping us an email afterwards. Okay, so a bit of a mix here as well, but that's fantastic. Thank you to all of those of you who participated. Okay, so let's deep dive into the contents and tell you a little bit more about the African Angel Academy. So first of all, this next cohort, cohort 10, would not be possible without our sponsors, who we are very grateful for. The first is the South African or UK South African Tech Hub, and we have received funding specifically to train South African women in South Africa in terms of the African Angel Academy. And they've been a long-term supporter of ours, and it will result in us having trained the most angels in South Africa. And so it's great to see those of you from Josie Angels and Jasiri joining us on this call. And then we also have funding from the Dutch Good Growth Fund, which was an initiative of the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And DGGF has been really supportive of the African Angel Academy program over the last 3 years. And they have, when we said we would love to do an all-woman cohort, they were like, great, count us in. That sounds like a great idea. So they're very supportive of this cohort. And what it's allowed us to do is to open it up to countries across the continent, which is really exciting. So yes, we do ask you to contribute to the program, but the bulk of the costs of the program are covered by Dutch Good Growth Fund and the UK South Africa Tech Hub Network. And then we've done a bit of introductions. Our implementing organizations are Stephen and his team through VBAN, Victoria Business Angel Network, and Victoria Ventures, and myself and colleagues through Viridian. And yeah, we're very happy to be here and doing this 10th cohort. just to let you know, we founded the program in 2020. We ran our pilot from May in the height of COVID, and we did a good job because one of our first participants agreed to then fund our second cohort, and that was almost 10 cohorts ago. So just to let you know who else has gone through the African Angel Academy, we have trained 615 angels from across the continent. We've completed 9 cohorts. We've just completed a cohort in Francophone West Africa, which Malinga facilitated for us, which was fantastic. We've trained angels from 21 African countries and I think 30 countries overall. We've mentored 24 angel groups, led over 40 masterclasses. We've had 48% women participation, and we are striving for at least 50% women participation. And this is another reason why we are really excited about doing an all-women cohort, so that we achieve. We've always had a strong gender lens objective for the program in every cohort, and that's something that I'm really excited about. We've had over 40 angel networks represented across the program in terms of connect with them, and we've had 70 guest speakers, and the guest speakers tend to be experienced angel investors, other members of the early stage funding community, and then we also rely very strongly on our connections to the legal world to help us make sure that what we're doing is legal and compliant as well. So we've got some really great law firms that we work with as well on the program. So who are the angels within our cohort? So they tend to be professionals in their mid to late career. They tend to also come from, I would say, 4 kind of buckets of professionals. So they are often entrepreneurs who have built businesses and scale businesses and have lots of lessons to share, and can provide advice and mentorship, and want to be the angel that they wish they had when they started their entrepreneurial journey. Then we also have angels who are active in the world of finance. Malinga and Pratika, I'm going to count you in on this bucket. So actively working in the finance industry, but are wanting to do something at a very early stage. And so look at angel investing as a way to diversify their portfolio and to invest slightly earlier stage than perhaps their PE or their VC fund or their foundation might do. We also see other professional service providers, so lawyers and accountants who might have worked a lot with startups and would like to invest in these businesses. And then the kind of 4th bucket we see are those individuals who might have also mentored young businesses for a long time. They might have been involved in working with an accelerator program and are wanting to now take the next step and actually invest in these businesses. All of our angels are excited and passionate about African startups or African businesses. They see the potential of African businesses to really contribute both to growing economies, but also with broader impacts, whether that's job creation or whether an angel has a specific mandate. So our angels are investing not for philanthropic reasons. They are wanting to make a return on investment, but impact is still important. Our angels have also seen exits happen over the past few years and are wanting to participate. And we've got some great exit case studies on the website. John, sorry, I'm just, I was worried it was me. And then also just to let you know, most of our angels invest through syndicates or groups. And as I mentioned earlier, that's kind of the range of ticket sizes, but obviously depending on local currency and what your specific investment mandate and criteria are. So this is a program team who I made to introductions a little bit earlier. For those of you who've just joined us a little bit later, my name's Alex Fraser, and I'm an angel investor through Dazzle, and I'm also one of the course instructors along with Stephen Gugu from Victoria Business Angels, and then David van Dyke with Rallycap, and he's also an angel involved with the European Business Angel Network. Someone who's not on this call today is my co-founder, Michelle Matthews. She's on sabbatical, but she'll be back in time to lead some sessions on impact investing. And then a number of you might have interacted with John, who is our program manager, and Jessica, who's our program administrator. And so I'm just seeing just a little bit in the chat. For those of you who've also just joined, we know the internet issues, and the recording will be available to everyone afterwards. So if you do get cut off, you will get, everyone who registered for the webinar will get a link to watch a recording later. Okay, so let's deep dive into the program overview and to understand, what does it entail? What are you signing up for? What are you going to learn? How have we structured the program? John, can we pop to the next slide, please? Thanks. So it is the African Angel Academy. It's a primarily online course. It's 12 online video modules, and we structure that over 12 to 14 weeks. We normally give you a bit of a break in between, and if there are big holidays and things like that, we also tend to break. The video content consists of the following. So it's structured into modules, and it includes angel investor interviews, information on best practice, as well as resources, guides, and templates. And it's available for you to then go through in your own time. At the same time, we also have weekly webinars. They usually occur on a Thursday at 5 o'clock GMT +2. And these weekly webinars are either structured as a masterclass, where they tend to be an hour and a half. And those are really practical sessions where we work together through issues or through a piece of content, or do exercises together, whether that's developing your strategy, whether that is doing a negotiation session, understanding exits, valuations, a legal masterclass where you get to kind of really unpack all the legal issues, questions that you might have around angel investing. Those are the type of masterclasses that we run. And then on alternative weeks, we have what is called a Q&A session. The Q&A session, I think we almost need to find a better term, because they're a lot more interesting than what they sound. We essentially invite an experienced angel investor to come and answer your questions and to share their experience. So it's a forum for you to ask any questions that you might have about the current week's content. You could be trying to conclude a transaction and have some questions and need some advice from an experienced angel. You might want to share your perspectives. You might want to ask some questions. And so these turn into very lively discussions, and a lot of relationship building is actually done during the Q&A sessions, because you get to understand your fellow angels' experience. You get to understand their perspectives, and how you could potentially co-invest with them. Then at the end of the event, we have, as I mentioned before, a startup showcase, and this is where you, the angels, get to nominate really interesting businesses that are early stage and actively are looking for angel investment, and then present them to us. And this then gives a broader angel group, and we also invite our alumni and other angels from the African community to sit in on these showcases and look at interesting deals. And a number of the businesses that have come through our showcase showcases have successfully raised angel investment from our alumni and from our active angel or from our current angels. So those showcase events have been really successful. Then we also provide a whole host of resources, and you can even find some of these resources on our website now, whether that's ecosystem research. We've got some great case studies, and we've also just we've done 6 legal guides on how do you structure your investment vehicles in terms of setting up syndicates and how you actually make deals. So those legal guides are widely available. And then we really try and provide opportunities for you to interact with the broader community, to join angel groups, and kind of really get involved in the broader ecosystem. And then for those of you who wanting to start new angel groups, we are offering we are able to mentor 3 new angel groups that come through this cohort, and they might be sector specific or country specific. And what that entails is we give you some funding to cover some technical costs, and we also give you assign you to a mentor, and we pay that mentor for their time so they can work with you over the course of a number of months in order to help you establish and set up your new angel investment group. So who are we looking for? We're looking for African women or female professionals who are ready to invest. Ideally, candidates should have some kind of experience mentoring or advising founders or possibly running startups. It's very difficult if you've got absolutely no exposure to startups to kind of hit the ground running. So we want people who understand the basic mechanics of how a startup works, what their challenges are, how they are sometimes almost held together with elastic bands and string and are just trying to make things work and really build their MVP and test a product and go to market. Ideally, have done 1 or 2 investments, but that's not a hard and fast rule. We want people who understand that angel investing is high risk. If it's really important that you know that if you invest money, there's a high likelihood that you might not see it again, or you could make very good returns, but that you're not, for instance, using this as your pension strategy. And also we want individuals who are like-minded, who want to collaborate, who want to learn and want to add value and share their information and knowledge. So that's important for us. And before we just go into content, because some of you have asked, do I have to invest or do I have to be thinking of investing? And in the words of my co-founder or co-facilitator, Stephen Gugu, what do you always say, Stephen?
Thanks, Alex. Angel investment is a contact sport. Exactly.
So angel investing is a contact sport, and learning the theory can only take you so far. And then you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to look at a deal and do a deal to really learn and put it all into practice. So the best learning is actually to almost look at deals through this process and bring transactions to the table, which you can discuss and we can advise you on. So yeah, that's the best learning experience that we've seen. So what content do we run through? So these are the 12 modules. I've spoken about the 12 modules, and this is actually what we cover. So and there is obviously a lot more. The world of angel investing is expanding, and the world of early stage capital is expanding, but we'll kind of, I think all of us who've started on this journey are realizing that we keep learning. But we cover, first of all, we cover angel investing strategy. Types of angels, personal mandates, groups versus individuals, how you develop an angel strategy. That's really where we kick off, because I think it's really important that you have a clear understanding of what you're kind of looking for and what your initial focus areas should be. Then we look at deal sourcing. What are the strategies that you're going to employ to really find deals and assess them initially? Then we look at due diligence. So how do you actually evaluate whether this is a good investment? Different steps to consider. What could you potentially need to outsource? and what are the areas that you need to look at. Then we take you through deal structuring, and this is where our legal primers really come in handy. And so we look at types of structures, key terms, term sheets, why you would use certain structures at certain times, and what is best for you. We then go on to valuations, and you'll probably be seeing Stephen a lot around the valuations masterclasses. And we really talk you through all the different types of valuation methods, sanity checks, deal economics, and what you really need to consider when looking at a deal in terms of value. Then we also have typically a very lively session, which is negotiations, and you get to practice your deal negotiation skills. And we partner you up, and you get to actually negotiate a deal through one of the master classes, which is a really fun exercise. We then also look at teams and mentorship, and how important it is in terms of the kind of the human side of angel investing. We talk about investment management and governance. Then everyone wants to know all about exits and how do you exit these businesses, and our exit discussion is normally a very lively discussion. And then we move on to angel group management and structures, and then finally end off with impact investing. So these are just some of the previous guest speakers. You can see we've had lots of fantastic women from across the continent participating. And then those are just some of the legal partners that we have and who've worked with us in terms of either providing legal advice through webinars or even assisting us with the creation of our legal guides or legal primers, which is fantastic. And I'm sure many of you will see them. So this is kind of the course timeline. You can see it's kind of runs over a number of different weeks. So I would say that the time commitments is you need to think about 2 to 3 hours a week. That includes the webinars on a Thursday. We know that life is busy. We release a webinar. I mean, we release the modules once a week. But so if you miss a week or not, you can always catch up with your content, you know, in a block if that suits you better. If you're seriously pushed for time in a week, I would say just attending the live sessions is the most beneficial, because then you can always play catch up with the online content later. But don't leave it too long, because then you know, you might be a little bit left behind, and we also want you to complete the program. But that's around what you're looking at in terms of a time commitment. We know that many of you are busy professionals, might have family commitments as well. So it's not hours and hours, but it is some time that you need to commit per week. So these are just a quick overview of the different program elements. So it's an online course. It's the weekly live sessions or masterclasses. It's in the startup showcases at the end, and then group mentorship for those of you. So we have an application process for new angel groups, and then you pair it up with a mentor. And maybe Pratika, you can talk a little bit more about that when we chat to you. Awesome. So I'm going to be quiet now, and I'm going to hand over to Pratika and to Umalinga. And we would love to hear from you and your experience of the African Angel Academy. Just to give you a quick introduction, so Pratika has done the program. She has founded a new angel group, Jasiri Angels. So many of you from Jasiri are here today. We've supported Pratika in establishing Jasiri. And so thank you and you've also been a great supporter to a lot of the work that we've done. And then Umalinga was cohort 2, also started an angel network, Nairobi Business Angel Network, NIBAN, has been become a good friend and avid supporter of the African Angel Academy. And she's moved beyond being just a guest speaker, but she's now also an Angel Group mentor, and she's just run the Francophone program. So she's also, if anyone wants any translation of any AAA content into French, she's your go-to person. So Omalinga and Pratika, over to you. Pratika, perhaps you can kick off with your experience, since you've got some of your fellow Jisari members here.
Thanks, Alex. And it's wonderful to be on this call with you and the team and everybody else dialed in. Just a bit of background and my experience with AAA. I attended a cohort in early 2022. And some of the things that I enjoyed about the program, and Alex has taken you through it, is the breadth and the variety of the content. My day job is in the VC space, but I felt as though the content was still pitched at an appropriate level to get meaningful value out of the course and being able to apply it. Another benefit that I experienced attending Cohort 4 was the networks and relationships, and also the coaching and advice that I received during that time. And ultimately, it gave me the confidence to make my 2 first investments in 2022 as well. So I think it gave me that extra boost in terms of understanding the subject matter a bit more better, and knowing how to navigate pipeline deals as well. In terms of Jisari Angels, we formally came together in 2023, middle of last year. We're an unincorporated entity, currently a group of 25 women, all with the single mission and vision of making angel investing accessible, making a return, whilst also making an impact to female entrepreneurs. Our thesis for our group is investing in women, in businesses that are women-owned, as we believe this will make the biggest impact from a society and economic perspective. And many people on the call, Alex included, Omalinga, have been amazing in terms of sharing networks, introductions, advice, and I can't thank you enough. You've made my journey and Jisari Angels' journey that much easier. I was lucky enough to be selected by AAA to receive mentorship by Abu Qasim, who's the founder of Josie Angels. And that was quite a structured program that ran over 9 months. And we met on a monthly basis and went through what is the most ideal structure, so technical aspects, but also introducing us to players in the ecosystem. And I can highly recommend that if you do set up an angel group, that you'd be better off it for receiving that mentorship from AAA. Yeah,
Thank you, Pratika.
Yeah.
I promise you we didn't pay Pratika money to give that recommendation.
Yeah, no, none at all.
So thank you, Alex. Thank you for the great intro, Alex. And so I'm also an alumni of AAA. I was really transformed by the program. What it brought me was the confidence to invest, make my own decisions, and also lead on deals. I had invested before joining AAA with the Future Africa Syndicate, where I was learning a lot, but I was never learning the confidence to source deals, lead them, and then work with entrepreneurs without stressing too much about what they do with your money, all these things. When I did the Cohort 2, I gained knowledge. That was, of course, a very important aspect. But I also met a lot of like-minded people. I met the angels that then became the founding group of Nairobi Business Angels. And this experience of learning together really launched us on a really very good trajectory, because we started investing immediately. And actually, some of us invested in the startups that were in the showcase. So this is really a program where you're going to, as we say in French, you're gonna put your hands in the engine and they become all black and disgusting because you do real practical things. I, like Pratika, focus on investing in women because they receive less capital. And as I'm myself a fund manager, I didn't introduce myself. I'm a fund manager. I am based between Mauritius and Cape Town, from Rwanda, but not living in Rwanda. And AAA has done an amazing job at selecting cohorts that were at least 50% women. And now we are going for a cohort that is 100% women. It's the first time and it's amazing because what AAA did by making sure we are looking at 50-50 in the intake has really changed the composition of the angel groups all over Africa, because the cohorts that came from Kenya, South Africa, Senegal, Nigeria, so many countries, they got intake of 50-50 angels, and it really changed the dynamic completely, because it does work. When women are trained to invest, they're going to invest in more women than what men would do. So this is playing a big role in reducing the unequal access to capital. So it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. Indeed, Alex and I, we became friends because we share so much in common. And AAA is not a place where you'll be bored in after work lessons. It's going to be lots of laughs, learning together, sharing experiences, which is a good environment to learn, because it's quite daunting to invest in startups, and it's quite daunting to talk about complex legislative documents and things like tax and etc. So it's really a good atmosphere to learn, and that's why also people gel and people then invest together. And the AAA alumni community is very active. It's a group of now, I think, if we add cohort 9, it's going to be like close to 800 angels that are sharing deals, are sharing experience. Today they were sharing internet nightmares. So this is really a great community to be part of. And I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thanks, Amalinga. So there are 2 questions that have come up in the chat, and I think we can just move on to discussions, and I might ask Pratika and Amalinga to just jump in and answer questions. So the first is, what is the minimum ticket size per investment? So I think that's part of the program is figuring out what your ideal ticket size is and developing a strategy. I think it can range anywhere, as we said earlier, between $1,000 and $50,000 per deal. And different groups have different kind of target amounts, and you need to figure out what's for you. But that's kind of, and you might set yourself, say, okay, well, I can only invest in, I need to say that, my investment strategy and what I'm comfortable with is I can only spend $5,000 a year angel investing. And to get the most out of that, I'm going to aim to do 5 deals, $1,000 each. Or maybe I'll do 4 deals, $1,000 each, and I'll save $1,000 to cover legal costs and maybe some due diligence and whatever I might need to spend. So I'm going to do 4 deals a year. It's not worth my time and effort kind of doing tiny deals. So I'm going to join an angel investment network, and I'm going to figure out what my investment focus is, and see if I can and find the angel group that's right for me, and that would be very happy for me to join with my $5,000 and my focus of 4 deals, or my aim of 4 deals per year. So, we're going to help you decide on that. Grace, you've asked a question around, do you need to be an existing investor and or have a showcase startup? So the answer is no. We ideally, and I was really pleased to see the answers that came through. Quite a lot of you have done deals. It's really, and on every one of our cohorts, we almost have a 50-50 balance, people who've done deals and people who haven't done deals, because those of you who've done deals can share your experiences and your learnings, whether they're good or bad, and that's what this program is all about. But I think you do need to have a strong intention to become an active investor soon. And then for those of you who might have a small portfolio, some of them might be raising additional rounds, so you're very welcome to nominate them for the showcase. Or if you might be mentoring a business and then go through this program and actually think, oh, they're investment ready and maybe they would be a good candidate for the startup. So, or for the showcase. So yeah, that's something to think about. So Sahar, you're a full-time entrepreneur. That's fantastic. We need entrepreneurially minded angels. Those are some of the best angels. So you probably joined us a little bit later, but we've got lots of entrepreneurs who are then become active angels. And no, you don't need to become a full-time angel on this program. That doesn't need to be the desire. I would say that 95% of our angels that have gone through the African Angel Academy are also running a number of projects, often their own businesses, and they invest on a part-time basis. I'd say about 5%, maybe a little bit more of our angels, maybe, about 5% of our angels that we've all come through AAA have actually decided to go on to start an early stage fund or an angel fund. So we've had, and some of them might have been investing for a while. And I'm just thinking of angels who've kind of built portfolios and then gone on to start funds would be Biola Alabi from Lagos Angel Networks has started a fund. As a co-founder in a fund. Hema has from WimHub, was an investor in Dazzle, has gone on to start 535 Ventures. So some angels do go on to set up funds and become almost full-time investors, but it's not everyone as well. Yeah, so Kofu, yeah, we can definitely set up. We've got lots of angels in Dubai and a lot of individuals who are based in Dubai but working in Africa, and happy to also connect you. If anyone's got an angel group, you can always share it on the alumni network. That's always something to facilitate. Oh, and I think there's someone right there with you on the chat looking for a connection. So you never know, you might have a coffee next week and chat. Any other questions or concerns or queries about payments and structure and fees or what you're going to get out of it? Oh, okay. Karen, you've asked, how are the 3 angel groups that get mentored selected? Okay, we've got a form and we ask everyone to complete the form who's interested in mentorship. We are looking for, it's preferable if there's more than one of you who wants to start an angel group. Because starting an angel group is quite a lot of work, so it helps having almost a co-founder. We then ask you kind of, have you spoken to anyone who's potentially interested in becoming a member? What is your initial focus? Have you thought about registration? So we try and understand where you are in the process. And we've had experiences where sometimes someone started a group and then they've needed to pause it for a while and then come back again. And that's okay as well. We've also had, Stephen had a recent experience. He started mentoring an angel group and they've actually decided to set up a VC fund. So they've kind of they're like, okay, we're actually going to set up a VC fund. So we sometimes the gap opens up. So we're quite flexible, but it's a structured set of questions, and then we analyze that and we decide. Sometimes there are country criteria as well, depending on our sponsors, and we're quite clear about that as well. In terms of, is there a fee for additional support? No, there isn't, but we want you to be committed in terms of time, and you know, the angels that we get to mentor you are also very busy, experienced professionals. Their time is valuable, and if you mess them around, then we will not be too happy, and you might be asked to actually step aside for someone else who really does want the mentorship and will prioritize the time. So there's no fee, but you need to be committed and kind of respect the process, if that makes sense. Okay. Just having a look at some of the, so Laura, we do give, okay, so do you get some form of legal advice on the best vehicles to invest with and the tax jurisdictions? We do our best. I mean, there are 54 different countries across the continent. Everyone has their own legal framework. Some of you might choose to invest in an offshore structure because of investment incentives and tax reasons. We do have the 6 legal primers, which we will share with you. We give you access to lawyers, and then, but you might need to do, and we give you a list of questions to ask and things to consider. So we'll give you some good understanding. You might, though, need to do a little bit more research yourself, and you might need to even speak to some other angel investors in your jurisdiction, or even get your own legal advice. So we can go up to a point, but that's how we operate. So Zona, I think you've just joined. So do you need to have experience in investment or funding? No, you don't, but we'd like about a 50-50 mix between some individuals that have done some, have investment experience, and others that don't. So yeah, I know some of you have to jump off. You all are busy individuals. I'll stay on for a little bit longer, but just please do apply sooner rather than later. We are now going to start accepting people on a rolling basis. We've had some really strong candidates who've applied, and we're wanting to start sending out acceptance letters soon, because from that, it's then we need to be able to invoice you and collect payments as well. So applications are going to close on the 5th of April, but we're going to start accepting people on a rolling basis, as I said. So please don't leave it till the 5th of April. Spend some time. It's not a long process to fill out a form, and it's quite a quick process. So please do apply sooner rather than later. The program dates are from the 12th of April to the 11th of July. There is a commitment fee of $230. If you're in South Africa, it's about just over 4,000 Rand. Yeah, and there are various ways that you can pay to join. And if you want a quick link to the application, just please scan the QR code, or I'm sure Jess will pop a link into the chat as well. And just a quick reminder for those of you who, again, have had internet issues, because I've seen a number of you drop in and out. We have recorded this session, and we will share it with you and with everyone who has registered for the program. So just seeing a whole bunch of things. Okay, I see there a number of chats as well, and comments. I just want to, what time is the program and the timing of the session? So the program, because we're spanning across Africa and we need to accommodate everyone from Mauritius to kind of West Africa in Senegal, we are going to run sessions at GMT +2. So this time they normally runs 5 p.m. on a Thursday, GMT +2. So that's when the live sessions happen. They are recorded, but we found that that's the best time for everyone to work. And so just that's a quick reminder. And yeah, for those of you who need to run, thank you so much for joining us. As I said, I'll stay on for a little